Welcome to an episode of You Haven't Read What? I'm Krysta.
And I'm Christina. Join us to explore unique genres, childhood favorites, and literary classics as we dive into each other's favorite reads.
Where one of us is very familiar with the book, the other is reading for the very first time. Let's go!
Hello! We kind of totally messed that up. Oh well.
Like staring at the clock, waiting for the countdown to start. Like,
well, and see, I'm staring at our middle screen here, going, "Well, I can't see us," and I'm like, also, like, there's another one of us. There's actually two of us. But funny. I was looking at the middle one.
You're
going,
so self-absorbed.
Where is it? There it goes.
We don't need that.
That was a lot. But yeah. Anyways. It's been an evening already. We had an impromptu meeting that Tim will be very disappointed that he missed again.
No, he won't.
And then we got sidetracked. Yeah, it's been a day.
What's new?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm working on a project in the garage for...
Awesome.
Yeah, I will definitely make sure that we get a picture up. I'm making Bob his own desk right now, so it's been fun, but...
It's cool.
I had to show Krysta the colors that we're working with and stuff. And then we got distracted by meeting stuff. So anyways.
But we had our girls had a concert tonight that was adorable.
Yes.
Or Click Clack Moo, Cows That Type, which is a fantastic book also. If you have not read the book, there's a couple of books.
Never heard of it until
they're fantastic.
were talking about it, and then you said something.
So Click Clack Moo is cute. Mm-hmm. I'll do this in our next book review. I'll pull them up because I don't know the author or anything. I'll next time we do a book review, I'll pull those up. But there's also a follow-on that's fantastic. That's Duck for President.
Oh.
And it's basically the duck is annoyed. The farmer is telling him to do everything. So he runs for farmer, and then he wins. But then he's annoyed with how much work there is to do. And the mayor keeps telling him things. So then he runs for mayor and he wins. And then he gets annoyed that, he has so much more responsibility, but everyone's telling him what to do. So then he runs for president and he wins. Yeah. And then he gets annoyed at how much work there is to do. So he goes back to the farm and goes back to being a duck.
And I'm going to be a duck again. Whatever.
So it's cute. It's just it's like, I want less responsibility. The person on top of me has less responsibility. Let's go. And it's like, JK.
Right.
They actually have more.
Right.
So it's really cute. And he keeps demanding whoever loses, so first the farmer, then the mayor, then the president, keep demanding recounts. Every time there's a recount, they just lose by more, which is even better.
That's funny.
It's like, this is clever. It's cute.
Nice.
So anyway, so our girls were super cute.
Yeah.
They did a good job.
And then we went and got ice cream after, and that was fun.
Yeah.
So we've been together quite a bit this evening.
All night.
Yep. Oh, well.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. But are you excited for this?
Yes. I warned Christina I'm going to start by yelling into the mic, Kevin's the dog. Sorry, I just blew out everyone's ears. Kevin's the dog. Is he the cover? Is that the dog on the cover?
Yes.
I finally know who the dog on the cover is.
Oh my goodness.
It makes me happy.
So anyways, this week we're in chapters 10 through 13. And I say through.
10 to include.
Yes. 10 to include 13. I don't know why it's just like in my brain when we were doing the Harry Potter that you just do chapters 1 and 2. 1, 2, and 3. This one, it's just like... I don't get that because there's so many more chapters in some of these. And so it's like, okay, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, yeah.
All of them.
But this week we're looking at the chapter Kevin. We're good here. Below the line. And we can afford this place.
Yeah. I can't. We'll get there.
Yeah. So, anyways, go for it because you are excited about Kevin.
Well, okay. So, first of all, I'm very excited about Kevin. But I had to start because first she starts off where Poppy gets the text message from Robin.
Yes.
Phone call? Text message.
Yes.
That they're going to the ballet, the kids that she's watching.
The kids are in ballet.
They're in ballet.
Yes. They go to a famous school.
Joffrey Ballet.
Yep.
I had to look it up.
Of course.
This is my little... I'm going to call it my Jeopardy trivia for the night. It was founded in 1953 in Greenwich Village by Joffrey and one of his buddies. Both guys, which I thought was cool.
That is cool.
Especially when it comes to ballet. That's not super common.
Yeah.
Current rates The youth ballet, which is ages 8+ is, there you go. Well, that's Chicago. You found the wrong one, Bob. I made the same mistake. You got to explicitly search New York.
For anybody not like watching us currently,
Bob's trying to pull up the website.
Yes, and there are more than one, it sounds like.
Yes, they have expanded.
Good.
But in New York,
Yep.
they also have 2 New York locations, but for just one, the youth ballet 8+, it is $1,600 a semester.
Ooh.
That is 16 weeks at 4 classes per week.
I mean, for that kind of money, that's not bad.
That's not bad. That is a big time commitment for some kids.
Yes,
But
it is.
that is ages 8+. For kids 2+, it is $700 a semester, still 16 weeks, and that is 1 class a week.
Okay.
And it starts off with like a parent and me wiggle class, which it too sounds pretty stinking adorable.
Yeah,
I kind of want to find video of that. But yeah, I was like, okay, not astronomical prices.
Yeah.
But if you had multiple kids,
That would be a lot.
Especially 4 classes a week. That's a commitment.
Well, and typically most families aren't going to have multiple kids wanting to do the same activity either.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be good at the same activities.
People have different things that they want.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, but very, very state-of-the-art ballet school in New York, which I thought was cool. Especially founded in 1953. I thought that was pretty sweet.
Well, at this point, we know that Robin's benefactors are pretty well off.
I mean, they have a second house in the Hamptons.
Well, they have multiple houses, and one of them they're going to the Hamptons.
Yes.
So
we at least have New York and the Hamptons now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cute. I was like, oh, this is fun. And also, again, that note that this ballet school is founded by 2 gentlemen.
That is cool.
Made me kind of happy.
I like that.
Again, I'm the female engineer. I like busting barriers.
Yeah, for sure.
So I made a little mental note of that. I did not write down their names, but that's okay. Yeah, then I started my big, wait, is Kevin the dog on the cover? And is she stuck with him? His poor smelly dog.
You will find out as we keep going into the story. I'm not telling you if she gets stuck with him or not.
Well, for the next 4 chapters, she's stuck with him.
Yes, for the next 4 chapters, which is one day.
Yes, that's a way to break up. And
yeah, I know, right? Whoa. Yeah. But, so starting at the beginning of Kevin, so we get a lot of flashback to Poppy growing up with her family, like her mom and her dad.
I think it's the next chapter I made a big.
And we start finding out more about her dad and how after he passed, which was before Robin. So Robin wasn't even around yet. Nope. Robin, she had in her 30s. And the dad was the one that was extravagant, wanting all of the cashmere underwear and all that. Would you have kept the house and paid off all of the debts? When you have one link, the possibility of your mom coming back, that handwriting with your mom.
So I made the note here because I originally was like,
why would
especially,
you do that? Yeah.
Again, we will come back to this in chapter 13, but we find out more even then. But I was like, why would you hang on so tightly to this place that your dad was not a great person?
Right.
At least not yet, not like abusive to her.
Right.
But still not a great person, and you're struggling to afford everything. Like, let it go.
Yeah.
And then she has this line that says, she's afraid to lose the only place you remember being held by your mother. And I went, ooh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I can't blame you for that.
No, I can't blame her either.
I'd hold on to that too.
Yeah. See, part of me thinks, though, that she should have just cut out a part of the house and just, like, kept that part. Like, obviously, like, the handwriting
This is modern.
and stuff like that.
You should just Airbnb'd it.
Well, not just keep the house like that. Like, I mean, like, a sentimental part where you,
take the drywall kind of thing.
Yeah, take the drywall and cut that out and then put it in a frame. And no matter where you're at,
you've always
got that with you. Now, the sentiment of mom's probably going to come looking for me is definitely a childhood type of sentiment. And I think for me, like, she's just so all over the board when it comes to her emotions. And a lot of that I think has like obviously is her past traumas and stuff with her mom and her dad and whatnot. But I also think that she just is very, like, I don't want to say she's kid-like, but in some ways I don't feel like she's grown up fully, even though she's in her 50s.
Yeah, she's almost trapped in 3 phases in life, I'll kind of say.
Yeah.
She's trapped at the young girl whose mom never picked her up from school.
Right.
Like, part of her personality, emotions, self-worth is still trapped there.
Yep.
Part of her is still trapped when Robin's a baby.
Yep.
Of that fear of, I can't date anybody else. I have this full soul focus as my child.
Yep.
And that's kind of what's driving her of like, I need to make sure I have money for college and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, so part of her is still trapped at this, I have a young child who is my sole existence.
Right.
Which a lot of moms fall into.
Yep.
Parents, I won't say moms, parents fall into. Where part of your identity gets trapped there.
Yep.
And then she's got where she is now.
Yeah.
That like the last third of her identity is
My
shit.
Yeah.
This is what it is. She's kind of split.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I think a lot of what like I struggle with her is just how the emotions are just so all over, and she goes from one to the next. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are hearing all of this kind of like with Harry Potter. We were hearing all of his side of everything. And so you get all of that inner monologue. And so you're just like, her inner monologue is amazing. And it's funny, but it's also very emotional. Yeah. And it's very all over. And I think that's just kind of that balance with her, is that she's finding this new life of, okay, all my money's gone. What am I going to do?
Now what?
So how do I fix this?
I got to pull myself up by my bootstraps.
But yet coming and doing something like this is also triggering a lot of her childhood traumas and past.
Is the situation triggering it, or is Emily triggering it?
See, yep. I mentioned Emily quite a few times. So yeah.
I have a lot of profanity around Emily. I do not like her.
Yeah, I can't say anything about that.
Okay.
I think you're not. It's kind of like me and Hermione. I think you are going to possibly change your tune when it comes to Emily at some point.
Should we take a bet on that? Sorry, I forgot.
Yes, definitely. Let's take a bet.
This is why I listen to podcasts on Spotify where there's no video, so I don't know if the podcaster's doing stupid, like trying to get hair that's stuck to their sleeve off. As I'm standing here being like, gosh, I'm covered in hair.
Yeah. It's one of those materials that's like hair
It is,
sticky.
but it's also spring. So
yeah,
I'm like a dog. I'm shedding. Anyway, my poor husband's stuck with 2 long-haired girls in the house.
You're like Kevin.
Yes. Except for I don't smell. I took a shower
pimento
today.
tongue.
Oh my God. I can just picture it.
I know, right? And I think that's one other thing, as I get triggered by that, is the way it's written by Ann Garvin in Poppy's personality. Like, I can hear her. Like, obviously there's an audio version of this on Kindle Unlimited and probably on Audible. But like, I can physically hear the way she is talking and the way she is describing things, like the pimento tongue stuck to her lanyard. Like, the only reason he's licking my arm is because that's the only spot he can reach. And like, his butt is hanging on my little fanny pack, things like that. It's just, it's so vivid.
I was very grateful at the end of chapter 13. She didn't drop the dog. I thought she was going to drop him.
Right?
Anyway, I'm jumping ahead. Is everyone related here?
No.
Everyone's freaking related on this set. I was like,
well, there's only
We've only met like 5 people, but
yeah, but who else is related?
Emily's related to someone.
To the director.
Okay, I guess.
And then the grandmother.
And then the grandmother, and I guess Poppy's not related, but I was like, everyone just like here by favor.
And if I remember correctly, the director is not the son of the grandmother. I believe it's the wife.
Oh.
But I could have that wrong. I could have that relationship wrong.
Yeah.
But those are the only 3 that are actually related on any of this.
And I guess related is not the term I was looking for. Not necessarily familial. Oh my God,
knows
family
everybody.
Relationship, but like everyone is here because they know somebody.
So yes, so that is the case. But they also, if you like, this is something actually going on in Hollywood too, is like typically if you do a good enough job and you don't get fired from this specific show or whatever, you usually get picked up for the next one with the same directors, the same crews, things like that. Yeah. So crews typically stay together. I refer to it as almost like a circus in a way, where you're all, you all kind of just go together and you pick up the tent and all of the things and you go and plop it down in the next place. Yeah. And so I kind of refer to that kind of scenario as more circus type.
Yeah.
At that point.
And I think that just because I think this is really cool. One of my other podcasts, like if you're a fan of The Office, if you watch The Office, I highly recommend Office Ladies. Yep. They're fantastic. It's Angela Kinsley and Jenna Fisher, who played Angela and Pam on The Office. And so they were talking about, first of all, that the camera crew that they brought in and the production crew they brought in were from Survivor. Oh. Because they were like, we want this to look real. We don't want this to look Hollywood. We want this to look like a documentary, like cool. Kind of like Survivor. And these like reality shows, but reality shows hadn't really kicked off yet. Yeah. And so, I mean, they existed, but so that's where they got like their whole crew from, who's used to like the hip cams and the shoulder cams and not the like steady cam.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but they were talking, there's a new show coming out called The Paper that's not supposed to be like a direct follow on to The Office, but it's the same producers, it's the same director. I think it's a lot of the same writers. And so they went to the set just to say hi, basically. Yeah. And they were like, it was like a family reunion. We're going around. It's the same. Oh, this person did my hair for 9 years. This person was my wardrobe for 9 years. They're like, it's Sergio at the at the food table again. They're like, it's all the same people. Yeah. And I was like, that's really cool.
Well, and the thing too is like, you'll notice that like the same caterers will be used and stuff like that because they know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. And it's impressive.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, craft and food services, what that's called, the catering. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, they were like, it was like, we knew like Mike Schur and like the creators. Yeah. But like we did not realize it was going to be the same cameraman and the same, like they were like, that was really fun. It's kind of unexpected.
That's cool.
So yeah, they were talking about that. And I was like, oh, small world. It's really fun. So yeah, so I could see that like these guys have all been together maybe for a while, maybe for a few movies. Yeah. But when it's just like, we meet somebody new. Oh, look, I'm here because I know so-and-so, or I'm related to so-and-so. I was like, well, but can you do a good job?
Those must hires kind of come in, like, and where the, like, if you're not on the call sheet the next day, you're not allowed to be here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
it's quite a way to find out you're fired.
A lot of the time, like, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know typically.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just in this business either. So
I'm week 3 on a new job. I know.
Right.
That's why my life has been crazy lately.
Right. So Emily is sneaking around. Who's she sneaking around with?
Uh-huh.
Do you have a guess?
My only guess is this kind of asshole movie star we meet in the next chapter.
Ooh, that could be like her dad. Literally.
It could be.
Okay.
Age is only a number.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't like him.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, it could be. Or, ooh, I just had this thought, so I'm going to think out loud. Maybe it's 3.
Ooh.
And maybe she knows that he and Poppy are old flames, and that's why she's being so mean. I leaned a bit too far back from the mic. So I have to move as I think. Maybe that's why she's being so mean to Poppy.
It's very possible. Okay.
That literally just came into my brain.
Yeah.
So
What'd you think of the sabotage? Like all the sabotage between.
Oh my God.
Like, Emily cleaned the microwave. Wait, what? Like, why? Why?
Yeah. Well, and then there's as we're kind of threading into chapter 11 now.
Yep, go for it.
There's then this. She kind of gets not really intentionally, but she kind of gets sabotaged with the dog.
Right.
And then Emily's like, "Let's trade people," and I was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
Red flag. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well,
and then she does. But
so Poppy doesn't really say anything too much about Emily just switching people. And then Emily comes back and is like, but I thought you'd want to meet the main person. Yeah, the star of the show. I think
she was avoiding him.
Yeah, kind of.
Or is trying to make it appear like she's avoiding him.
Right.
Because he is creepy.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, and then Muriel makes this comment early on that they're super short-staffed today. And I was like, but we're pissy about a must hire?
Right.
Like, that doesn't sound like a bad thing.
No.
You don't have enough people for the roles. Who do you care?
Yeah.
Why do you care?
Yeah. 2 people. They're missing 2 people.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. But yeah, then I wrote Emily offering to switch. Red flag.
Right.
Don't do it.
See, so I vividly could imagine her trying to tie herself up with this baby carrier thing. I never got the hang of those big old long silky whatevers.
Me neither. I needed hooks.
Yeah,
I needed the buckles.
Yep, for sure.
I needed to hear that snap to know my kid was safe.
Water did not sit in one of those for very long. Like she refused.
Thing one, my daughter loved them.
Yep.
I mean, she just hung out in that baby carrier. We had 2. I kind of I can't remember what they were called, but like a little bit more of a bulky one that I liked wearing her in. But then my husband, I got him, I think for Father's Day or something like that, like a tactical baby carrier.
Yeah, about the same thing.
He loved it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she loved it. She could hang in that thing for hours through the airport. Like I've got a great picture of Tim with her on the front and the tactical baby carrier. He's got a backpack on his back, and then he's carrying 2 suitcases walking through the airport.
That's funny.
And she would just sleep in that thing. I'd sit on a yoga ball, play computer games for hours.
Yeah.
With her just strapped to me. It was great.
That's awesome.
Thing 2? Nope. Wanted nothing to do with it. I think he was in it like maybe twice.
And I think that's how Water was too. Like she was barely in it. She preferred her swing. I'm so glad we had that dang thing. And other than that, she just wanted to not. She just didn't want you to like be around. Like she just wanted to lay in her bassinet or in her swing.
Well,
other than that,
we mostly used the carrier for my little guy when like we had to go for a walk or like thing 1 wanted to go down to the park. So it was never inside.
Yeah.
It was always outside. And so, I mean, his birthday is at the beginning of October. And so for Halloween, I have a great picture of he's in the carrier with a little beanie that looks like Olaf. He's got the pipe cleaner sticking out of his hat. So he's kind of dressed like Olaf. And I'm holding a mug. And I like put the caption, like took a selfie with the mug, and I was like, it is not water in there. I was very glad to be able to not be pregnant anymore.
That's so funny.
But it was like, that's how we walked around trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
It's like, he was in the carrier, and he loved it.
Yeah.
But then after like a month, he's like, nope, no thanks. I'd rather be in the stroller.
Yeah. But like, just imagining a dog in this carrier or whatever, it makes me laugh. And he keeps getting passed around like a little hot potato. Like nobody wants him. Everybody is like, keeps telling Poppy that whoever has him usually gets fired.
No, they're saying that's job security.
Well, now
so long as you're holding, as long as you're holding the dog, you are safe.
Yeah, but
maybe as soon as you let the dog go. Different story.
Right. But then like you've got the costume lady who's like, oh yeah, I had him on my first day and I couldn't get rid of him until my second day. She had him overnight. And
it sounds like it's gonna be the same here. Anyway.
Yep.
We keep jumping ahead.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I could totally picture. And I mean, besides the fact that he smells and he's got this stupid little tongue sticking out, like, I'm I wouldn't complain about having a little doggy all day.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
So how about Meryl yelling at Poppy that this isn't rocket science? Now my job is rocket science.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I always laugh when people are like, it's not rocket sciences. And I was like, trust me, I know.
Right.
Or I was doing a audiobook actually of a financial advisor. And he made some comment about like, this isn't rocket scientists. And thank God, because otherwise we'd all be screwed. And I was like, no, it makes so much more sense to me if it was rocket science.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I always think that's a funny expression.
Yeah.
But yeah, the yelling's getting a little old.
Yeah.
Like, can we calm down just a little bit? I like that Poppy hasn't started yelling yet.
Right. Yep.
She's kept her head on
Yep.
and maintained who she is.
Yeah.
Which I'm proud of her for. It's only day 2, but
Yep.
still proud of her for.
But Robin's also got that, or not Robin, Emily's got that attitude.
You did the same thing she does.
Yeah. Well, and I was reading it, but I was reading it backwards. And I'm like, Emily and Robin are very similar in attitude, but at the same time, they're about the same age. So she's like, well, mom's not an insult. And Emily's like, what?
What do you mean? You're not cool. I still think like, as much as they're the same age, to me, it's been, I mean, albeit we haven't really gotten to see Robin yet.
Right.
Too much, but even just the short interaction at the airport we had with her, it's pretty clear to me that Poppy did a very good job raising a respectful child to other adults.
Yes.
And Emily's mom, Emily's parents, Emily's adults in her life,
Yep.
will not blame mom here, did not do the same.
Yeah.
Like you have not been raised with some really basic respect of other people around you.
Right. Well, and she even admits that. She goes, my dad or my mom's a horrible mom. Like, so she admits that. She's got her own stuff going. And I think that's the other thing that Poppy brings to the table is that she brings that more calm, happy, and not necessarily
Fly off the handle.
Yep. Like everybody else that's there.
Yeah.
So
Agreed. Okay. Creeper boy. Who is this guy?
she has no clue. Poppy has zero clue.
Nope.
None
I wrote,
whatsoever.
WTF is up with this dude? Does he think he's famous or something?
And then we find out.
And then I asked, is Emily dodging a hookup mistake? Like, is that why she wanted to switch? Is because she doesn't want to
Maybe.
deal with him?
Yeah. I mean, possibly.
Either because he's creepy or because he's creepy.
Well, so I will give you this. She is not supposed to dress him the way that she is.
That's kind of what I assumed.
Yep. He is just being a butt.
So if anybody has watched Friends now, if I reference a completely different sitcom here, is there's a fantastic episode that Joey takes Chandler to see his tailor because he needs a pair of pants hem.
Okay.
And the tailor sizes him the way he's not supposed to.
Oh.
And they get back to their apartment, and Joey's like, what's the big deal? This is how they size pants. They need to know. So he has to touch things. And Chandler's like, yeah, you're right. That is how they do it. In prison? Like, it's like, oh, what do you mean? This isn't normal. I'm like, poor
Right.
Joey has no idea.
Right.
And it's kind of funny. But I kind of had that same thought of like,
Yep.
yeah, this is how you dress somebody. In prison?
Right.
Like, no, this is not okay.
Right.
He does not need help zipping up his fly.
Yeah. He was just being a butt.
Yep.
But
At least she had a dog between her and
true. The hair tie trick is a good trick, though.
it is. I definitely did that while pregnant when I was,
Yep.
well, with my first. Because with my first, I was determined to not buy maternity pants for as long as I possibly could. So I did the hair tie trick, or I'd come home from work and flop down on the couch and unbutton my pants. And Tim's like, would you please go get maternity pants? I'm like, no, I don't want to yet. And so I did the hair tie trick. I was pregnant the second time. The day there's 2 lines on that pregnancy test, boom, I was in pregnancy pants. I was like, let's go.
Let's do this.
I'm ready for stretchy pants.
Right. I fortunately had a job where I had to wear scrubs, so I always had stretchy pants.
You always had stretchy. Yeah, no.
And I
had
don't
to
wear
wear slacks.
jeans anyways, so
I wear slacks and jeans.
yeah, no. Nope.
But yes, no, the hair tie trick is great.
Yep.
It is great.
So still she has no clue who she's dressing, but her mouth brain to mouth filter is typically broken with her.
I love
it gets her into so much trouble. However, in this case,
I love it.
it's funny. Yeah, I know. Bob saying sounds familiar. Mine usually is broken too. So
yeah. It is. And we love you for it.
Yeah. So she, in the next chapter, she basically is like, oh, like, I have no clue who I just talked to. And then she finds a pair of underwear in Kevin's mouth and has to hang it back up.
Dude, Kevin, don't steal undies.
Right. And I'm kind of like, well, how the heck did he even get that? Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, was she really that close to something that she could, like, maybe if she had like leaned over to button his shirt? I was like, I'm really trying to picture where he would have gotten underwear from.
My only thought is if as she was carrying everything, like from the trailer, if there were a pair of underwear attached to that he stole as she was walking, she didn't notice.
Yeah. But the other part is the reference of these ones are tighter. And the other ones that he was wearing were not. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, at least she noticed. But as she goes back up to the door, she hears a conversation. This should not be my problem.
Yes. I'd made a little star on this one that, in general, I don't think Poppy is the problem he's referring to.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's Emily. I think he's pissy that Emily did not come and visit
do what
him.
She was supposed to.
Whatever that may be.
Okay.
I think either Emily's the problem or his co-star, his dog, his whatever is just not going how it should.
Right.
Or his tight pants are the problem.
I ate too many.
Cutting off blood flow.
Something. I don't remember what he ate too many of, but yeah, Thin Mints or something like that.
Yeah.
So as she's coming away from the door after hearing that, she gets in trouble by Emily, like super yelled at, because Emily is pissed because she thinks now she's in trouble.
I don't get that. I don't get people who don't take responsibility for their actions.
Why did you tell on me? You could have said no. Well, actually, Poppy didn't have a chance to say no.
You never said anything. You
literally disappeared. You took the clothes, you switched them, and you disappeared.
Yeah.
But everybody watched. Literally everyone.
Except for 3.
Yeah, exactly.
He's kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, where did you go? You can come back. Or not. She needs somebody on her side right now.
Yeah.
Maybe Mariel can come back her up, or,
Right.
Pants dude. Alan Carroll, by the way.
Yeah.
Alan can come save her and say how amazing she is.
He's having the phone conversation.
Yeah, no.
But Milwaukee, the guy that she keeps calling a teamster, watches, and Mariel watches, and everybody's watching her get yelled at, and like
nobody steps up. I'm a little bummed Mariel didn't step up.
Yeah, I think though that she realizes that there's something more going on, and that she needs to let whatever is happening happen. Like,
the problem though is Emily's the only one who is aware that there is something going on.
right.
Like, even Poppy's like, what the hell? Like,
Right.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any part of this.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, maybe Mariel assumed that it's a two-sided thing going on, but she should have asked.
Yeah, maybe.
Should have stepped in and be like, hey, guys, I'm professional.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the
Especially in
trailer.
the middle of the hall, like, or not hall, but
The like corridor, I'll call it, outside. The alley. There you go. Yeah. Like I said, I was a little bit disappointed she didn't step in.
Yeah. I could see that. But then we find out that Alan, who is the head star, he is also extremely famous.
He's won lots of Academy Awards.
Yes.
Cares?
Is super nice to the people called below the line, which are basically the worker bees, the ones that you don't see, the ones that are on the screen as the credits are rolling and everything, but you don't know any of their names typically. And thinking about it, like, we know of quite a few actors and actresses and even songwriters and
various artists.
very artists that are like that. Keanu Reeves is one, Robin Williams was one, Taylor Swift is one.
Is a big one. Yeah.
Like there are a number of them out there that are super amazing with the people that are on the shows or the movies or the sets.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool because like while that person, whoever it is that's starring in the movie or the show or the concert or whatever they're doing, is the one doing the act and everything.
They don't exist.
You can't do that without the hundreds of other people that are underneath.
The concert doesn't happen without the truck driver.
Yep.
Yeah. Without all of the other stuff. Like, you don't exist without that.
Right. I mean, you've got set designers, you've got engineers, you've got all of your, your hands, your AV hands, your tech hands, like
stunt doubles, pyrotechnics. Yeah. Take your pick.
Your backup dancers, your musicians, everything.
Yeah.
And so I think it's one of those things that a lot of people forget, that while you may want to be the boss or you may want to be able to move up in your company and things like that, you also have to still take care of the people underneath you. And we do find out that Alan Carroll is one of those people.
Supposedly.
Krista, wow.
Supposedly. Okay. Well, he still creeps me out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's nice. You're nice to everyone under you, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Like, because you also hear that a lot of these people, oh, they took care of the people under them. It's like, well, because they did it for favors. Like,
right.
Yeah, the people who got paid the most were also the ones who did other things off book that they weren't supposed to or a little unethical or whatever. And it's like, well, that's why they got paid more.
Right.
And that's why they were taken care of. So, he still gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Okay.
But I do appreciate that recognition that he apparently, takes care of those around him.
I think I would struggle with constantly the thought of just being fired and taken off the call sheet.
Oh, God.
When you overhear conversations like that, or you've got Emily, who's, the director's niece, who is
bullying you.
Is bullying, basically, and all of these different things. And then you think about that in your everyday life too, and you go, okay, well, this happened at work or that happened at work, and then you're like, oh, but that's stuff that happens all the time. And I'd be so worried about constantly getting fired.
Yeah.
And not being able to make the money for Robin's school and, and pay for my house and stuff.
Have the cash to get gas and a new tire to get back home.
Right.
Now her poor van hasn't moved in 2 days. That's not good for the flat tire. You're going to break your rim.
Right.
But ugh. No, I couldn't imagine being on a trigger warning like that. I mean, I mentioned I'm on week 3 of a new job, and I had plenty of warning that my program was going away and other opportunities, and still that was stressful as crap. I couldn't imagine being on that. You'll find out tomorrow when you wake up. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, for sure.
No thanks.
I wouldn't want to hear it like that. I don't think I could.
I couldn't do that. Yeah.
Nope.
This is why we do this.
Right? Right?
Constant.
Having fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Enjoy it. My job's stressful, but I enjoy it. I enjoy this. Sometimes it's stressful, like when we're talking about finance crap for this.
Right.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay. Are we on chapter 13 now?
Yep. We can afford this place.
Okay, where to start? I have to applaud her punishment ideas. Is to go give Emily an attitude talk or tell her to sit in the corner and sew a bunch of buttons. I was like, that's very motherly of you.
It is very motherly of her.
It's very parental of I'm going to take you outside and give you the talk, or I'm going to give you these buttons in the corner and say, go to town. Mm-hmm. My daughter was giving us attitude the other night, and I was like, congratulations. We need to clean your room. Come on. So I drug her upstairs and we cleaned her room together. And she was pissed.
I'm sure.
But she did it.
Yeah.
I just very quietly, try not to laugh too hard, hung up her laundry, hung up her shirts and all that
Yep.
stuff. Well, she cleaned up her books and her dolls and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And she kept, and was flailing all over the floor. And I'm trying so hard not to laugh. But that's the equivalent of like, you're going to sit here and you're going to sew buttons.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to scream at you. I'm
Yeah.
not going to like do anything abusive. But like, we're going to have some punishment.
Yeah. Well, we had somebody recently tell us because we found that like consequences don't really work with water as much. And one of the things that they told us, which I kind of took this as something that Poppy would do, is the, okay, well, it took me 10 minutes to do this thing for you. I had to do your chores. Therefore, I'm taking 10 minutes out of your time later. So instead of, like, her complaining about doing her chores and things like that, or having to have a conversation and whatnot, that's 10 minutes that you took out of my schedule, my time to do the things that I needed to do. Therefore, you have 10 less minutes of whatever it is, if it's reading your books or coloring or spending time watching TV, you get 10 less minutes of that because
You took it
you
from
took
me.
me mine. So I'm taking your 10 minutes back to
I like
replenish
that.
that. And I was like, I wonder if that'll work. But I could, like, that was kind of one of the things that I thought of with Poppy, like in that button
That's
thing.
very
like,
much her attitude.
yeah, like, let me rip off a bunch of buttons and then make her sew them all back on. You know? I could see that.
Yeah.
So.
I liked the attitude around like, I'm going to punish you by talking sternly or making you sew buttons. I was like,
Right.
like such
I'm gonna mother you,
such
even
the
though you
signs
have
of a good parent of like, I'm going to,
yeah.
beat you. Like, no,
Yep.
that doesn't work.
Nope.
Yeah.
But
We too her dad now.
not yet.
Okay, good.
But one thing,
So my
one
blood
other
pressure
thing with
will go
all of
up.
that is like the blame ball that she talks about. It really
Yes.
does work that way.
Yes.
The blame
Rolls
never
downhill.
sticks at the top. It always rolls and trickles down and splatters on somebody. And unfortunately, like the person that is at the bottom usually gets it. And I think that's very true in
So many areas.
yeah, it's true in basically everything of life at that point.
It's kind of the saying, shit rolls downhill or
Yep.
something like that. Like,
Yep.
yeah. No, it's the same. Yeah. Blame just, oh my gosh. Yeah. Except for with kids, sometimes then it rolls back up and I blame myself.
True. But yeah, I just was like, okay, this is actually like a real metaphor for life in a lot of ways. But it just, unfortunately, it doesn't matter who made the mistake or who did whatever. It's, you know, if an engineer like sent out this email saying, hey, all of these things are going to happen if you do X, Y, and Z. And all the people at the top go, oh, we want to do X, Y, and Z anyways. The engineer is still going to be the one that gets blamed at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I get it, but it sucks.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
Okay, go for the dad.
I got to go to my page. I should have done this while you were.
Okay, then I'll say one more thing about Emily. So she has a chip on her shoulder. For
Yes.
Sure. But I like her confidence.
Yeah, I had
don't
that same
like the
thought.
chip, but I like the confidence of being able to not necessarily stand up for herself, but she does have that confidence of going, hey, like, this is how I feel. This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to do. I don't care if you like it or not.
Yeah. No, I definitely had the same thought that I was like, I applaud you for always standing up for yourself, going
Right.
with whatever you believe, whatever your
emotion,
whatever
or
you
thought,
want
yep.
to happen. If you're that strong about it, like, great. Don't be an asshole.
Right.
This kind of goes back to the stars that like pay their backups, pay the
Yeah.
under the line, take care of the underline, are respectful to them. Like,
Yeah.
because then you hear about stars that are not
Yeah.
and are just complete jackasses to
Yeah.
everybody beneath them. And it's like, okay, like you may be really good at what you do and you could be extremely confident in all these things. It doesn't give you a right to be a jerk.
Right, for sure.
So yeah, it's kind of that double-edged sword of
Yep.
the confidence in somebody so young and so I'm gonna say new to a career
Yeah.
is nice.
Right.
It's really nice to, I mean, heck, even at my job, having a new hire or an intern come in with a little bit of confidence. They're like, all right,
Yeah.
but not too much because
You
I'm
don't
sorry.
want that ego.
I still know more than you.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
I try to tell Water that all the time. You
simmer
don't know
down.
everything.
Simmer down.
You
But
still have to learn.
have the confidence to
Yes.
say, I am willing to take that on, or I am
Yep.
willing to tell you my opinion.
Yep.
Like
for sure.
is a little refreshing. Just simmer down.
Yeah.
Simmer down. Okay. So then we have this flashback with her dad, where I'm going to kind of just read this paragraph here because, my mother said she didn't want to teach her Sunday school class anymore, and my father said, "Who cares what you want? They need a teacher. You're a teacher. You do it if you're so good at telling people what to do." My mother said, "Is her name Gemini?" Yeah. Gemini, my father said in a lovely, loving, caring tone, "Did you take your meds?" Holy hell, the gaslighting.
Yep.
Holy heck. I was like, I kind of had to put the book down for a second. I was so
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's some manipulative shit right there. Of, well, what do you mean you don't want to do this? This is what you do. And now you're telling me that's not what you want to do, but now I'm going to flip this around and make it a mental thing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
For sure.
oh. I put the book down for a second. I was so angry.
Well, and there's a part in the book, and I don't remember if we've already covered it or not, and it's not going to be a spoiler or anything, but it's a part where Poppy remembers asking her mother the same question on multiple occasions throughout interactions with her mom.
Because she's been
Did
taught
you
that
remember
that's okay.
to take your meds?
She's been taught that that's okay.
Yep. And while like Water will sometimes be like, "Oh, did you take your meds?" Like, because I have an alarm on my phone and it comes up every single day at a specific time. And she'll sometimes see the thing and she'll be like, "Oh, did you take them?" So that she can clear it or not, you know?
That's
and
different.
That is very different.
That's
but it's
inquisitive versus
right.
accusatory.
Yep. Yep. And in this case, like, we will learn more about the mom and stuff a little bit, but like in this case, it's one of those comments. But I think it's the end portion that the mom doesn't hear that bothers me the most.
Yeah, so I stopped short, but yeah, for sure. So the rest of this thought is, my mom didn't answer. She moved away. She didn't hear him respond, but I did. I'll never forget. Always so much trouble. Who would want her around?
Right.
Said the dad. You just said that in front of your daughter?
Yep. Because he said it to her multiple times too.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna say something to your wife, you usually say it to your kids.
Yeah.
And that is something that my husband has like been very good about, is like, if I can't say it in front of my kid or to my kid, I'm not gonna say it out loud to anyone.
Shouldn't be thinking
Like,
it. Shouldn't,
yeah.
Definitely shouldn't say it out loud. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, I'm going to just point out the irony here that he is gaslighting her over Sunday school.
Yep.
That's very Christian view, sir. Or very, I guess I shouldn't assume a religion here because it doesn't say, but that's not very,
Definitely not.
pick a religion. It's not very godly of you.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter which one. That is not okay.
It's not okay.
There's some ironies here of like, oh, we're gonna do that.
But Poppy is in for her own tantrum, which I think is funny. And she gets it out and she does her thing. And throughout this book, like, a lot of things will trigger back memories from her childhood. And I think that's one of the things that I was trying to say earlier, is that, like, her inner monologue, while we get to see it and everything and hear it, it's also one of those things where it's just like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that triggers her to different times of her life. And I think it's cool because she is an older character. Most books don't have characters this old, or even
That you're hearing the monologue of.
yeah, that you're hearing the monologue of. Typically, they're just side characters, and this one is your main character. And I think it's kind of cool that we get to, like, see more things that happened in her life things that were good, things that were bad, and get
I think
to
we all do
experience
that.
more of
Like,
that. Yeah.
my kids hit a certain threshold. They're like going to the pool or going camping or getting on skis or whatever. And I definitely have those flashbacks to my childhood that are,
Right.
99% of the time happy memories
Right.
of, I remember when I did this with my parents. And like, I remember being on swim team as a kid and like, that was so much fun. And like, I definitely have those moments of going
Right.
back to that and just getting that like little bubbly feeling again.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot. It's kind of going back to the three
stages of
three
her
stages
life,
where
yeah.
she is right now. She's in an extremely traumatic stage right now, which is taking her back to a traumatic past.
Yep.
Which makes sense.
Yep.
Like that's just where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So.
And it does make sense. And the fact that she is comfortable with expressing those thoughts and those feelings and everything is really cool. Mm-hmm. So
More people can do that.
right.
Find your tribe.
So the conversation, the phone call that she randomly picks up at the end of her tantrum.
Okay, new IRS guy. Good or bad thing? Like he said, we've been a victim of the same thing, and she's like, yeah, bullshit.
Right?
I highly doubt that.
The only part about that I was confused about was that he was calling the IRS a victim too, because I was like, you're basically suing her and telling her that she has to owe all of this money and stuff. Like, how are you the victim when you're going to get it all back?
Yeah.
Or you're going to try at least.
I was gonna say, are you playing again? Are you gaslighting her
Right.
by saying, well, this is a burden on us too for having not
Right.
gotten this money? Like, oh, go away. Or I was like, were you personally a victim also?
Right,
Or
yeah.
are you representing somebody else that also was?
Well, and he talks about being a financial,
yeah, there's a term there.
where a financial forensic.
Yeah.
So he basically is going to dive deep into everything that has happened in the last 5 years.
Like, do you have documentation? Of course I do.
Mr.
I might be a
Cabbage.
patsy, but I'm not disorganized. I thought that was a great line.
Yep. But like just the part
Yeah.
of her case needing a forensic financial person, I was like,
I feel like this
Okay.
is a good thing.
is this good or bad? And
I
then
hope
her
it's a
thought
good
of,
thing.
I have to owe more money.
Yes.
Like, I'm already freaking out about the amount of money I owe you now. And you want all of this documentation to maybe tell me that I owe you even more? I was like, I don't know if I'd help with that or not.
Sure.
Like, do I help? Do I not? Do I give him everything? Am I legally obligated to?
Call her other IRS friend whose name is escaping me right now.
Yep. IRS
Yeah, IRS Sue or something like that. Amy, there we go.
IRS Amy.
I would have immediately called her and say, look him up in the employee database and tell me if this is somebody I should be talking to or not.
Right.
That would have been my next phone call.
Right? Yep. But then she notices at the end of the day, which I think is funny because she only gives Kevin water once.
And then his like 2 kibbles he can eat.
Yeah, and then he eats the kibble and she's like, oh, we need to get you wet food or whatever.
Because your tongue is weird.
But the way that she talks about it flicking off of his tongue, it makes me laugh because I'm like, I can see it too.
Yes.
The tongue is like lulled out, but because he can't quite get the kibble into his mouth, it just goes wing, wing, all over the place. And then it hits who we find out is Travis in the chest.
Yep.
I'm like, okay.
Wax him.
Yep.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. So what do we think of the honey wagon?
Well, then she locks her keys.
Oh, yes. She forgets you. Well, so that's where the tantrum comes in.
Yes.
She remembers that she locked her key, or she left her fanny pack in
That's right. That's before the IRS phone call.
in the costume
Yeah.
room.
And so then she runs into the Teamster guy again.
Yep. Travis.
And we go to the honey wagon.
Yep.
Sounds nice.
I mean,
Sounds
It's-
big.
attached to a bathroom? So what do you think is actually going on in there?
So I'm laughing because not my office, but another office I visited a lot, they're renovating all 3 floors all bathrooms at the exact same time.
Ooh,
so
why?
They pulled up a temporary trailer
wagon.
in front of the bag. And so that's exactly what I'm picturing here. And when my site found out that this was happening, we're like, cool, so we're not visiting for a few minutes. And everybody simultaneously at the site was like, no, don't worry, they're really nice. And I was like, it's still a porta potty, guys. they're like, no, it's actually really nice. It feels like a real bathroom. There's running water for like the hands.
Yep.
The toilet part was still a porta potty.
Yep.
It was a fancy porta potty, but it was so funny how defensive they were of it. And so I did unfortunately actually have to visit once while it was still under construction. And I remember going and being like, oh, this doesn't feel like a porta potty, but
right.
I still
but
like,
it's still outside.
I still feel nasty.
It's still a
yeah, you still have to go
trailer.
outside.
It's still a
It was
porta
in the
potty.
Pacific Northwest, so you got very wet going to it from the porta potty.
Yeah.
But I am picturing it. It was clean.
Yeah.
It felt kind of like a real bathroom. Again, it actually had running water for like washing your hands. Like
Right.
she could do like a sponge bath kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like I'm hoping.
But she talks about it how it's got a sink and a couch.
That's really fancy.
Like it's at the very end of the honey wagon, and it has a couch.
Oh, you're thinking of what happens on this couch
right. And she's thinking, oh, people come in here and take naps.
with each other.
Right? That's all I'm thinking.
See, I'm still like it's attached to a toilet, so no,
It
thank
don't-
you.
It don't matter.
No, thank you.
People
Okay.
are gonna do what they're gonna
That's
do.
fair. That's fair.
But-
It is Hollywood. But does that outer door lock though?
It does lock. It's supposed to be locked, but they have them all unlocked because the people are coming to clean them. Remember? So
Okay, so they can lock from the inside.
yes, she even says that there is a lock.
That's right. Okay, because I was like, maybe that couch hasn't been used as much if the door doesn't lock.
No, it does lock from the inside because it's still essentially a bathroom space.
I wasn't sure if it was like toilet separate locks,
Oh, yeah.
kind of like master bathrooms in a lot of houses.
Maybe. Yeah.
That like the toilet is separate and that locks, but like our main bathroom door doesn't lock.
Yeah.
We don't even have a door right now.
We don't have a door at all, so it's just a big arch.
Yeah, we're
the
gonna put a sliding barn door up
Yeah.
eventually, but low priority and haven't done it yet.
Right.
So it's like, so that's kind of where my thought was like, is this like the main bathroom area that doesn't lock
Right.
and like anybody can just walk in
Yeah.
versus the toilet area?
Can we put those Western swingers in your bathroom thingy?
I feel like you're going in and out of a Western bar, going in and out of my bathroom.
I think that'd be cool. Anyways,
No, we're gonna stick with the barn door.
side note, Christina is all over the place, it looks like. Okay. So anyways, do you have anything else about these chapters?
I just wrote, oh, she and Kevin are in it for the night.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, I finished this chapter feeling really depressed.
I'm sure you did. And I'm sure because the way that the book ends is on the back of a page and then you've got the next chapter name. Did you read the first line
No.
of the next one?
No.
Okay.
I definitely did not.
So just
Oh,
to
no.
help with the depression, the
Oh,
next
no.
line, it's called, okay, so this chapter 14, How the Mediocre Have Fallen. At the sink in our tiny honey wagon home, I promptly gave Kevin a bath, drying her with large towels I found in a cabinet. So she gets a bath.
Also, Kevin's a girl. I forgot about that. I do have that marked, but Kevin's a girl,
Kevin is a girl.
which is amazing.
Yep. But
Yeah. I mean, that's
she gets a
cute.
little bath, so
But does that mean she gets a little bath too?
I'm not telling anymore. But
Like I said, sponge bath yourself.
right.
Good minimum.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
so-
this was a really depressing chapter.
Yeah, it's these 4 chapters are probably the hardest.
Is it uphill
for me.
from here?
So it'll go better. Yep.
Yay.
The next several.
I'm ready.
But those ones were definitely on the harder side. And I'm glad they're all kind of combined and then we're tossing them out. Okay, so chapters 14, How the Mediocre Have Fallen. Chapter 15, I Don't Believe a Word You're Saying. Chapter 16, Like a Melting Piece of Chocolate. And 17, Flipper Offers Cusser Otters. Flipper offers Cusser Otters.
Somebody gets drunk.
But anyway, so we're going to
melting
do
chocolates.
14
We're about to get
through
hot.
17.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Anyways.
14, 15, 16, 17 next time.
Yep.
I don't want to get us depressed.
Yeah. And it's only 4 extra pages
Yeah.
than the last ones. So these chapters
I would gladly read more.
I'm sure you would. I'm sure. But
Yeah,
anyways,
we're
we're
almost halfway.
there. So at the end of this
Wow.
one, we will be halfway.
okay. I was like,
So
yeah.
I have
Look at
in
you and
the-
your fancy bookmarks.
well, sort of. I mean, they're just
Your postcards.
postcards or flashcards if you're from the 90s. Yeah.
That's funny.
Anyways, but we will be halfway through after this next one. So
Man, feels like this book is flying by.
I know, right? And I really hope you guys are joining us in this book because it is funny. It's
love
fun.
it.
Like I've said before, if you've got Kindle or Amazon, Kindle Unlimited, it is audio. It is on there as a free book for Kindle Unlimited. I just sent one to my aunt's. I think it's like $12 on Amazon. There's some at other local bookstores. It's a fairly new book.
Support
so
your local
you can
bookstores.
definitely still find it. If they don't have it, most bookstores can still order them in and things too. Barnes and Noble, things like that. So lots of places to find it.
Heck yeah.
But I hope you guys are following along. It's a great book. It's funny. And Krysta can't wait to keep reading.
I want to just binge this book and I can't do it.
I know, right?
You're killing these bubbles.
I know. And like, what's funny too is that when I was thinking about what books I was going to read and stuff, like this one kept sticking out for me. And I talked about doing another series instead of like a single one-off. And I was like, this one keeps drawing me in. I've got to do this one.
It's good.
It's just a different type of book. So
But I think having dueling series happening at the same time, I think I would have gotten confused.
me too.
I think the one-off was a really smart idea.
Yeah. So anyways, we will see you all next time.
And I know we say this in our little opener or closer. I can't remember which one, honestly. No, I listen to it every
It's
week.
been a while.
Is like, find us if you want to connect with us. Find us on Facebook or Instagram and follow along. And it literally takes 2 seconds on YouTube, Apple, Spotify,
iHeart,
whatever.
we're literally on everything.
To leave a review. When we say leave a review, there's no typing involved. You literally just pick a number of stars.
Yep.
Preferably 5. But
We will beg.
I am not beneath that. No, just not. I mean, obviously, we appreciate it, but all of your podcasts take 2 seconds. Click a number of stars. That's literally it. You're not writing reviews. It's in Google Maps here. And also subscribe.
Yeah.
Is that way you get to
All the
find out all of our little,
notifications.
like we've had a couple of Thursday releases now in case you've missed. This is now months old, but like our charity review, we did holiday book reviews. Like if you're not subscribing, you're missing out on all that.
Yeah. So definitely leave us comments too. We
Yes.
want to interact with you guys. So let us know what your thoughts are and maybe a book that you want us to read and we'll see if one of us has read it or not and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Maybe
We've had a
it'll be
couple of
one-off.
books recommended that were on one of our to read lists.
Quite a few on this wall, actually, that have been recommended to me that I have started to read because I read more than one book at a time.
Crazy people.
But
Although in fairness, because of this podcast, I'm reading more than one at a time. I have
Right,
my
yes.
book and I have our book.
yeah. But a couple of them back here that I've had recommended that are like,
And I've
gonna
got a
be up
couple
Krista's
that are
alley,
going to be
so-
on my, like, I'll read this and vet it, make sure it's a good option.
Yep.
Because there are lots of books that we both like that I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not podcast worthy, honestly. Like,
Right.
it's an enjoyable book, but
Yep. And I think we're just gonna, keep going. So
we're having fun.
comment, let us know what your thoughts are. If there's a favorite book you guys have, interact with us. We like to talk to people, or at least I do. She'll type to you. She won't.
Most of the time. No.
She actually replies to more comments than I do most of the time. So, but yeah. Anyways.
We're having fun.
Yes. Join us.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for this episode. If you had fun, please follow, download, and review this podcast on your preferred listening platform.
If you're ready for the next chapter, join the spoiler-free conversation on our Facebook group. Search You Haven't Read What? The podcast.
Or on Instagram and YouTube for exclusive videos and behind-the-scenes content. Have a great week.
And we'll catch you on the next page.